Especially considering I'm actually short on energy. At this point, this should be your third energy tank. You should have 2 energy tanks by this point. I'm not sure why I only have 1. Like, I legitimately can't remember where the second one is. But, yeah. Typically at this point, you have 2 energy tanks. That's your third one. But yeah, it's very important to grab that. It's much needed in this game. Energy tanks are one of the most important things that you can get throughout this entire game, because there are a couple bosses toward the end of the game that if you don't have at least 6 energy tanks, you pretty much have no chance of winning. You know, this isn't one of those games where you can just go through it and not take any hits, unless you're like a true master, you know, and you've practiced diligently at not taking any hits. But yeah, for the most part, this is a game where you have to take hits, especially if you're speedrunning. You know, there are hits that you have to take, they're a requirement. Speaking of the second energy tank, here it is. This is the one that you're supposed to get before you fight Kraid, but I skipped it because I did that little wall jump to get to the top of the passageway. Hold on. I just want to do something here if I can. Come on, I can do this. Yes, I did it. Whew! Alright. Just going to do a little trick here so it save a few seconds of time. I don't know if it's actually going to save any time, but it might. See, typically you come back out and you have to wait for the orange guy to make his rounds so that you can kill him to open this door. But this time I just went back up and opened the door. Didn't have to wait for the orange guy to make a full rotation around the room. Saved myself a little bit of time. Now I'm going to grab the high jump boots. So yeah, typically this is before Kraid. So that's where the second energy tank is. Okay, now we can jump higher. We can jump high. We've got we're back up to 5 super missiles. That's good. I'll try not to overuse them too much because you really need them for the bosses and stuff. Got 3 energy tanks, which is what you're supposed to have at this point. See how I don't have to wait for the orange guy to come around? So that might have saved me some time. It might not have. I don't know. I'd have to do some measurements to figure that one out. Alright, so next we're going into this door up here, which I believe takes you around in a big loop. There we go. You can also use super missiles to open pink doors, but like I said, I'm going to try not to use those too much anymore. Earlier I was using them to like defeat enemies and stuff, and you know, you don't want to run out of them. Oh boy. This is the room that fills with lava, so you want to get across the room as quick as you can, lest you get stuck. Oh man, that's what I'm talking about. So now it's going to take a little longer because if I fall, I have to get back up. Shit. Alright, we're good. Alright, now I need an energy tank again. I believe this is where you have to go in a little circle to get the speed booster. You can also get the wave beam during this part, but it's kind of hard to get to. If you don't get it here, you have to come back for it later. So I really am better off just getting it now. If I can. I don't know if I can. I mean, I know I can, but I don't know if I'll be able to this time. It requires a very difficult wall jump. And if you miss the wall jump, it eats up a bunch of time. Oh man, these guys can shoot through walls, so that's not good. I also have to watch my health, because here in Norfair, a lot of the enemies hit harder than they do in Brinstar. Oop, don't want to do that. Just wait for this guy and do that. That's what you want to do. Oh, hold on. Ah, damn it. I'm taking a lot of damage here. This guy will actually drop you into the lava if you stay on him. Man, it'd be really nice if these guys would drop some health. That'd be great. I shouldn't have used a super missile there, but screw it. I'm just going to do it. Okay, here we go. This is where you get the wave beam, but typically you have to come back here after you get the grappling beam. I'm going to try to do it without the grappling beam, but it's going to be tough. Here we go. Oh, I didn't jump high enough. Oh, there we go. I didn't know you could do that. I didn't know you could land on the spikes and then jump back up. I thought you just fell through the spikes. Alright, wave beam. That makes your shots look cooler. It also makes them travel through walls. And it also makes them go in like a wave pattern. See, look. It's all cool and interesting now. I think it might even do more damage. So, go wave beam. And I am in dire need of some health. This actually might be a good time to bust out the super missiles. Just to kind of kill these guys faster. Oh yeah, definitely a damage increase. I think I'm doing about twice as much damage as before. Alright, well, my health is really suffering, but I think I'll be okay. And see how you can shoot through walls? Very useful. Very nice. Okay, speed booster time. Oh wait, hold on. No, not speed booster time. We still got a couple more rooms to go through. For some reason I thought this would be the room that I had to dash. Okay, hold on. This is a good opportunity to get restored. Because this thing... That was weird. This thing actually fires out more enemies than the ones in Brinstar. For some reason it seems to be glitched though. It's not actually firing any enemies. Alright, so we're all restored. That was quick. Wow. So pro tip, that particular hive you can fill up much faster than you can at the earlier hives. So it might be more efficient to wait and fill up at that hive if you can survive long enough. Now after this there's an earthquake and the lava goes up, which might be a reference to Metroid 2 and how every time there's an earthquake in that game the lava moves downward. So here it kind of flips that idea upside down. Of course the speed booster is one of the coolest items ever, and you can do all kinds of cool tricks with it. Lava. Okay, so at this point, I think I'm supposed to go back this... No, I'm not. I'm not supposed to go back that way. I'm supposed to go, I think, down and to the left. I'm gonna take all these guys out. Yeah, you have to go down and to the left. Oh, my bad. Now, if I remember correctly, this puts you back in front of a save point, so I might actually save. Just on the off chance that I get killed. Which is very much an off chance, but you never know. Okay, so I think at this point I have to get the ice beam. This is where the game becomes a little bit convoluted. You have to get the ice beam here. Then you get the power bomb in Norfair. Then you come back here and you get the... no, this is Norfair. Let me rephrase. So yeah, see the power bomb blocks down there? You get the ice beam here. You go back up to Brinstar, you use the ice beam to get the power bomb, then you come back here, you use the power bomb to get through that room, then you get the grappling beam, then you go back up and use the grappling beam to get to the wrecked ship. So yeah, gets a little convoluted for sure. Oh. Now, I used to be able to make that jump. You have to like turn into a ball as you leap. It's kind of tough. Whew! You see that? That was skills right there. Skills! Could have easily fallen into any of the other little notches, but I got the ball right into the correct notch. Skills. So now we got the ice beam, which actually, it makes some enemies take slightly longer to kill, so it's not entirely a good thing, but it's such a cool beam, no pun intended, and it also allows you to kind of do some new things, do some tricks. Uh-oh. There we go. So yeah, now we gotta go back up to Brinstar. Try to be quick about it here. This is one part of the game that I'm not crazy about because I don't like having to backtrack back and forth to collect items. I like to have kind of a linear progression through the areas, you know? Like, I would like it if this part continued to happen in Norfair, rather than having to go back up to the surface and then back down to Norfair and then back up to the surface again. It just kind of like derails the momentum a little bit. Plus, if you're playing for the first time, it's a little bit confusing, this part. Ooh, I really thought I could make that jump. And now I'm getting massacred. There we go. And this... Oh shoot, what just happened? This is why you need the ice beam. So with the ice beam and the high jump boots, you can make it back up to the top of this area. Ah, shoot. Okay, this is my least favorite room in the entire game. Maybe this is why I don't like this part. So this room is just so irritating. I think that was probably the best I've ever done with that room, actually. So many little secrets in this game, it's insane. Some of these missiles, though, I wonder if the 5 seconds of jingle time is really worth it. Because, I mean, by the end of the game, you have so many more missiles than you actually need. I mean, usually. Sometimes you don't. And you do need a lot of missiles to get through those last few rooms with the mother brain and everything. Because of those, there are those barriers that you can only open them with missiles. So, I mean, more missiles is a good thing. But, yeah, the jingle does eat up a lot of time. Oh, man. roll down here. It's very counterintuitive to jump into one of these plant things. But at the same time, I mean, this one doesn't have a mandible in it. So it's a little more inviting than the others. Inviting. Oh, shoot. Oh, for crying out loud. There we go. These spikes really like to bounce you around. Okay, for this part, I'm just going to fall all the way back down. Oh, shoot. No, it's okay. And that's where you get the X-ray scope. But I'm not going to be doing that until I get the grappling beam. I can probably do it without the grappling beam, but I don't know. I haven't really tried. Oh, look at that! I actually managed to jump between the rocks. I didn't think it was going to work, but I did. How about that? Alright, so now we're off to get the grappling beam. All I have to do is go back toward the ice beam room, and this time I use a power bomb, and we're off to the races. Here we go. Oh man. Try that again. Oh wait, I thought there was a big jump there. I guess I'm remembering now. Ooh, look at that! Lucky me, huh? This is a missile I always used to have a lot of trouble getting, and I think in my last playthrough on YouTube, I couldn't get it. I gave up on it, but that time I got it. Whew, I'm doing okay this run. I'm actually pretty happy with how this is turning out for like a completely impromptu run. I'm really happy with this. Okay, do I want to save or do I want to just go ahead and fight him? I'll just go ahead and fight him and hope for the best. Oh shit. God damn it. You have to jump all the way up to the ceiling before you fire if you want to get your shots over his shots, like so. I'm not sure, but I think the charged up ice plus wave plus phaser does more damage than missiles. But of course you can't fire it as fast. So that's why I'm using that instead of missiles. Of course in this case damage translates to how far back he moves when you hit him. Oh, there we go. I can't watch this, it makes me kind of sad. It didn't used to make me sad, it used to be like really cool visual effect, but now it just kind of depresses me. I don't know. Okay, I'm just gonna run all the way over here and crash into the spikes. I think I told this story in my other Super Metroid video. When I I first saw a commercial for this game, this shot right here was in the commercial with Samus firing at, well, you'll see, at this guy. Like, this shot right here was in the commercial, and I thought it was a boss. I thought there was like a giant skeleton boss at one point. It was really cool. Alright, so Crocomire is defeated. I think it's just about time for me to pause my recording, check it. Oh, really? I think there are a few secrets in this room, but I usually don't get them because it's so easy to just jump through the room and be done with it. But I think there's like a missile, maybe another power bomb in there or something like that. Alright, so now we've got the grappling beam, which is one of the coolest items ever. One thing that's interesting to note about the grappling beam is that if you hold down the button, it fires further. So you just tap, it does this. See, look at that. But you hold down the button, it does that. Look at that. A lot of people don't know that. They just like think it fires randomly. It's not random. It depends on how much you press the button. Which is interesting because I didn't even know that the Super NES had a context-sensitive button setup. Did not know that until this game. And I mean, there have been later systems that made a really big deal out of the buttons being, you know, context-sensitive, or maybe it's contact-sensitive that I'm thinking of. Just the more pressure you put on them, the more stuff happens in the game, you know? Especially with analog sticks. The N64 made a very big deal about the analog stick being pressure-sensitive. But yeah, the Super NES was actually doing it first. Well, maybe. I don't know. It might be pseudo-pressure sensitive. It might just be like how long the button is pressed, you know, and it determines from how long the button is pressed whether or not... Oh, geez, look at this. Whether or not to shoot a long beam or a short beam. Well, this is gonna suck. I'm out of super missiles and I need one. Oh, here we go. Oh, that's perfect. Oh no, I can't get those items. Okay, let's just do this. There we go. I'm gonna get a couple super missiles just in case of emergency. Okay, here we go.